also mentioned, right? Major 2, this is your chance, right? You got a clean slate to really try and improve, especially if you are the Subliners. It's a new stage. Could it be a new performance, a different roster in play? And it's Neptune starting things off well, taking down Afro. Met with some shots, though, from the Red Menace on the other side, as Hydra will drop inside the middle. Vutu can be a crazy hard point. Those ARs will be put to their maximum potential, but it's the Ravens winning the fights at P1, and Clayster already thinking about the rotation.
So far, New York in this first hard point, they obviously go back and forth for that P1, but a huge gunfight win comes in from Paul to catch Clayster off the rotation. Last player here is going to be Neptune. He's able to win that one-on-one versus Paul, but eventually he is going to get traded. So London, they're starting off this game flawlessly with about 40 seconds on that P1. They have a couple bodies off the rotation early towards that P2. And like you said, our main focus point has to be on Neptune. This is a guy who, before he entered, once he entered the league and found himself on the bench, he was sitting at like a 0.75 KD. So as long as you're in New York, the main thing you want to focus on is just picking up your kills. You pick up your kills, you should put yourself in a very successful spot to close out the map, as Crimsix does find 3.
Yeah, how about the vets, right? Taking down 3, make it 4 in a row, but Afro still lingers. He still hides around the boat, and Crimsix could get met for the 3rd. How about the break? And primarily, a lot of it off of Marcus Reed. Afro making the plays at 6 and 2. Now make it 7 and 2. Clay doing everything he can to stay alive, but the pinch is in. And once more, the Ravens continue to succeed. An excellent start for Paul X as well. Started off 4 and 1, now at 5 and 5. Nasty newly makes it 2 of his own as NYSL. Not a great start to this hard point, and with spawns coming up next for P3, it is the Ravens who are going to be in possession of those as well. We'll see if Neptune can make a few plays in middle to try to set up his teammates for an early push.
Yeah, Neptune needs to win this one-on-one, but his teammate in Clayster is going to be able to assist him. So now only 1 player left on his point. It's going to be Nasty. He's going to get slid at, but he's able to win 2 huge gunfights. That's such a huge play coming in from Nasty. Stalls enough time for eventually Zero to get into the play. So New York, they thought that they had the break. But Ravens, they are going to hold on 90 to 20, 40 seconds remaining on this P3 hard point. You see all of New York trying to attack through top ring, but London, they are set up on this flawlessly. With 30 seconds left, if you're New York, you have to start thinking about the rotation. But look at the spawns. Already London, number 4 in Afro, spawning at P4.
Yeah, and New York are going to realize this, right? They're now spawning at this current hill. They've got to get this time at the very least. A 1v1 of the point, and Hydra's able to take it. So the final 15 seconds will be awarded to the Subliners. That's great. But as we said, the rotation race is on, and that's a great way to find a pick. It's Clay from the front. Meanwhile, it's Neptune actually from the back. Nearly finds the second. The Ravens will handle business with him and now focus on a already very big hard point, especially if you're the Subliners. Clay hitting that final bullet there onto Trey. Locks down Zero, but the engagements will only look to continue. Afro already at 9 and 5. The Ravens have doubled the score of the Subliners and then some. This is not the start that you would have liked if you are a New York fan so far, Jay. You seem to be struggling on those rotations and really getting taken down in stride. We'll see if this hill can be a difference maker for them. But let's go ahead and step aside and see how the communication is sounded. Let's go to a listening with the Ravens.
Look out. I'm leaving cliff.
Hydra's absolutely back there.
I got one. Plays there. Plays that too. Nice. Pushing us out. Looking for Crim.
I'm pushing out.
Look for Nep, guys. Look for Nep.
One shot. One's top broken.
Top broken, you said?
Yeah, two broken, 2 cross.
Alright, Marcus, I'm top, okay? I'm going top 3.
Left side of time. I'm dropping out.
I don't think
Red tank dead.
Oh, it's red tank.
Nathan.
One shot, guys. Nice.
Looking for Nep. Top out, Neppy.
Oh, my bad, bro. Get some.
They're off spawn. Let me close ready.
He's
on me. I'm lying down. Can you help me?
Yeah, I'm coming. Sit down.
I need over. Start away.
He's in hole.
That time, okay? Nice.
Got him.
One more.
Red tank.
I'll kill him, red tank.
He's at new. Someone. He's at time. Red tank dead.
Broken. Good job. I
help him time, Marcus. I'm going P1.
Yellow, Crim dead. Nice.
Listen, get to me. Yeah. Help him cage.
One shot, Hydra.
I give him up. Yo, one's mid thing. Throw me.
Cage.
Hydra, guys.
It's a good time, Marcus. Help me on that.
I left him there. I got one. One shot, 2 new, guys. 2 new.
One more. Cross, Clay. Hey, weak.
I'm trying to help you, Paul.
He's not peeking me.
Behind me, top broken now. He left you, bro. He could be just front cage.
I got low.
There's two.
No,
One's on me front, Clay. One's hit mid tank. He's gonna pinch our side. I need help.
Fire tank now, okay?
One's on me front. He could be out. On you.
The Ravens are out here. The communication is absolutely on point, up by over 100 seconds after the first set of rotations. A beaten and battered Subliners have got to come up with something special. Let's step aside and see how the comms now sound with NYSL.
Watch out their mid tank. Watch out their mid tank falling. Only one in time.
On time, Lee. Hold down. Let's go, Parker. On time, good job.
One's going their mid right now. One's going their mid.
Up the ramp, after out. Oh, he's already there.
I got traded.
He's weak.
That side.
I spawned out.
He's on me.
Everyone nade.
Their side, zero.
Afro's gonna be a beach.
He's inside, yeah. One's gonna be beach.
Push out beach, Afro RDR1.
Double Alex. Double Alex.
Topo got me. Yo. Okay. Just rotate new right now. One's on beach.
Yeah, he's on a rock.
Yeah. We can still bring this back. Everyone
push out P5 maybe.
Everyone rotate.
No, he's R1. R1 nasty.
Everyone rotate. P5.
Nice.
R1.
Yeah, he could be pitching. He's R3.
Top boat.
Nasty. Top boat. Nice. Up for dead. Last one's old.
Yeah, we can still do this easily. Okay.
That old wig. Yeah, he's already gonna be Lamar. Yeah.
You can push off that. Push off that.
Push off.
One stun top ring. I'm stunning over your Ivy. I got the guy old.
So Lamar. Watch out Lamar.
I don't know about you, Jay, but I'm not buying it. It just doesn't sound like they're there. I mean, what, you heard a few moments where Krim, in his voice, he's like, all right, well, let's just reset. We can do this.
Yeah.
We have the ability to do this, but it doesn't sound believable, my friend.
You can tell that the frustration is there from the side of NYSL, especially with the way that this hardpoint has been going. They find themselves in certain situations where they're early on the rotation, but they're losing those gunfights. When you're not winning your gunfights off the rotation, this is where a scoreline can look like this on a Gavutu hardpoint. This is the first hardpoint out of all 7 that we have went through so far where they were actually here early off the rip. But London, once again, the team that they are, #1 in break percentage when it comes to this game mode, they just make it look easy. They are 25 to 27 points away from closing out this game. Look at the route that Nancy is hitting. He's able to come behind Crim6, flip these spawns. That's going to be 2 dead. Last player on the point is going to be Neptune. He does find 1, and New York will still keep the spawns towards back green, but it's only a matter of time before London are able to close this one out.
Yeah, and on Gavutu as well, like, obviously we talked about how, these can be 60s either which way. Sometimes it plays like that, but the Ravens, you can just tell that breaking, that power, the slaying potential that this team has, even with the substitute, which Davis obviously talked about it. Paul X, a great sub, was a staple last year for this Ravens team. He's been dominating, or at least playing very well so far in challengers with Team War. Like, he is a great addition to this team, but even still yet, NYSL just cannot seem to hang. Finally, for a moment, they get some time to breathe. 30 seconds left over at Beaches, but if you're the Ravens, they might try to contend for this, at least push out this spawn, but they will be in a position to lock down this next hard point, which, as we know, can be a money hill. It could be theirs, and it could be the final hill of this game. Is it going to be 0-11 for the Subliners, or do they have something special, something magical prepared? As player 6 will look to make the play, and he gets cut down as well. All pushed up players for the Subliners fall. It just feels like this one's about to be done, Jay.
Yeah, London keep control of the spawns. You had 2 players from NYSL trying to attack from both angles to try to set up that pinch, but both players dropped. So now with London keeping control of the back, all they have to do is hold down this push for at least 1 more time, and this game should be theirs.
It looks to be theirs. Only 8 more seconds. New York actually do get the close spawn. Look at the close spawn for a moment, but it's not going to matter. Put him up and knock him down in shooting range toward the backside of Tower. In a commanding opening hard point for the London Royal Ravens. Despite the substitute, it is all out slaying from the Ravens end, and New York, the woes in hardpoint, the struggles in the mode, despite bringing back Neptune, only continue in our first game of what could be a very quick series. 250
Major 2 and how it's going to go, because this is a map, like I said, that they have yet to play all year. So if they come out and win this, they're already extending their map pool. So if you're New York, it's all about answering early, because as you go to that control, as you go towards that hard point, they do not have positive records on either one of those maps. But into the search and destroy we go. Already New York getting first blooded, down in man advantage, and look how much pressure London are putting on towards this train side.
Neptune, as players continue to fall, finds himself in a good spot, but doesn't look both ways. Zero, so crafty. It's now going to bring it all on to Clay in the 1 versus 3. Subliners felt strong about their attack toward the other side of the map. They get met with the first blood, and from there, they can't get the numbers back in their favor. It is all smiles in round 1 from the Ravens.
That's just good work coming in from the Ravens, getting that early first blood onto Krim, and then just using your man advantage to your advantage. They were able to push up towards that train side, pick up another couple of kills, and then eventually in a 1v4 situation, it's not going to be good for New York. Right there, if you're New York, you just want to spread map. You do not want to get first blooded there because you could already see the tone setter is going to be the Ravens with their early aggression. So now New York, they're going to start to slow down on some of these offensive attacks.
Clay bringing out the big boy. Afro, a great performance in the hard point, cannot find the kill. They're on to Neptune. The SMGs going big inside of University. Great job done. 2 versus 4 already for London. 0 did get spotted out with the sniper. It's gonna be up to him and Paul to go for the clutch, but Krim, round the corner he comes. 4 up and 4 down. A good answer on the other end there from New York, but a lot of it, Jay, comes down to that fight between Neptune and Afro.
And that's good work coming in from New York to at least answer early into that very first round to tie up the game. Match it with aggression. Hydra puts up with that SMG right up through train side, gets that first blood, and then Neptune, he wins a huge one-on-one towards top Palace to make it a 4v2 situation. That was clean, 4 up, 4 down at NYSL. Now on the offensive side, though, you saw the way that London attacked it. They had multiple players go towards that train side, and New York this time they're going to send multiple players there to fight them.
I like that. I'm calling it Palace from now on. University, it just doesn't hit the same.
Yeah, it threw me off when you said University because this map is full of dust, full of everything.
It is. I don't know if it, at one point was a University. I have no idea. But Palace seems to be the better title of the two, and Afro maybe sitting on his throne at the top of the Palace. Hydra, a few shots through the box, a few splinters, but it's all good. Neptune's got his back, and he will escape with his life as well. Actually, he will not. Nasty's there for the trade. I thought Neptune was clear and ready to escape. Not going to be the case. Despite the first blood, Subliners down in man count and really without a whole lot of information to work off of. Hydra still lingers through bottom Palace, as I've just learned. We'll see if he can make this one even up at 2-2. 30 seconds left.
You're right now, if you're London, you can afford to give up this bomb plant. Just trying to make sure no one is giving up their life for free. But Zero able to reposition himself, able to take down Clayster, so now forces it into a 1v3 situation. Hydra is going to get spotted by Nasty. The gunfight is going to be in. 15 seconds left, and Hydra, we can get through the window. He's trying to go for the gunfight, but 1v3 with that much amount of time left is not going to be an easy task to get done. And right there, New York, they started off by getting that first blood, but once Neptune, he was trying to get out with his life, breaks out through that side B bomb, and Nasty was set up with the perfect angle to even up those numbers. And then once they took down Crim 6, we saw it in those keys to victory. New York do not have a lot of success when they're at a man disadvantage.
Yeah.
So right there, London, they're able to capitalize it, take the defense once again.
Yeah, another difficult one to deal with if you are New York, the 2 versus 3. Some nice shots from the Ravens to utilize those numbers, as we're already into our 4th. Ravens on the attack, and it appears to be an A push off the start. Nice first blood there granted for Clay. As Hydra all up and personal inside of the trains. Just waiting. Spot 0 inside of the water tower. That's going to nearly be 2. Nasty's able to find it, but it's Afro from the top. That's going to bring it into the 2v2. Nasty and Afro. Maybe coming up with a duo name already versus Clayster and Neptune. Appears the Ravens are going to group up, and Clay, he gets the info.
So Clay is going to potentially run into both players here. He is going to be able to spot one, takes down the first, but it's going to get traded by Afro. So now in the 1v1 situation, Neptune, he's actually going for the reflank. The bomb is also going to be down. The gunfight's going to happen any minute now.
Oh, it looks like it could. It looks like it could. Neptune, oh my gosh, they're right next to each other. They're right next to each other. Neptune gets the timing and will give New York a round that they so desperately need. I can imagine all of the Subliners fans just yelling at Neptune. He's right there. He's right there. They get a nice little glance at each other, but Afro not able to turn in time. A huge 1v1 for Neptune, and it can't be understated as well, Jay. I mean, this is a huge moment for Neptune, right? For him to get brought back into this team, a roster that has been struggling since he left, that struggled even while he was there. I mean, there could be a lot of stock, like we're talking about in his career and his ability to get picked up by future teams if maybe this works out or it doesn't. A huge situation for Neptune, a big series for him as he goes big in the 1v1, and now it brings us to a 2-2. Already in the opening engagement versus Paul, but it's the coordination from the Ravens that grant them their first and their second.
And Nasty, he was actually able to spot Clayster as well. So it's only a matter of time before Clayster's going to drop. So now in the 1v3, making a 1v2, it's going to be Crim6. Bomb is going to be down towards that lower window of Palace. But you see both players of London, one player in zero, just watching that reflank towards that B site. They basically have a beautiful crossfire setup because they know that Crim6 is not going to be that bomb carrier. So once they get that sound cue, they should know where he's putting himself in a position. With 40 seconds left, Crim, he's just trying to play for a kill. Eventually has to pick up this bomb.
Yeah, you can tell kind of based on where the Ravens... Okay, Crim's just frustrated. He's like,
right.
okay, these walls suck. I don't know what I'm supposed to do right now. I can't break through. Not strong enough. We all know Crim's built like a freight train. He can absolutely get through that whenever he wants, but decides to use his weapon. Who knows? Maybe even baiting out the Ravens. Baiting out Paul X and Zero, and could it work out for him? Oh, not going to happen. Not going to happen. It's going to be a little bit frustrating, though, if you're Crim, right? You're just trying to get through the wall, not able to do it. Just fire your weapon out. Maybe for some frustration coming through from Porterhouse.
100%. Like, he's Porterhouse for a reason. The fact that he couldn't break through that wall, you can tell he was definitely a little frustrated. Thought a player was going to be in that corner, but London, they played that beautifully. They knew the bomb was down. Time was starting to dwindle down to the final seconds, and once Crim6 was able to pick up that bomb, Paul puts himself in a great position to win that 1-on-1. So this map so far has been all defense. 5 straight defensive rounds between both of these teams. This time, New York, though, they're going to have a couple players being super aggressive towards this B bomb. The first challenge is going to come in, and Neptune finds 2.
Oh, it's magic. It's beautiful stuff already from Neptune. He and Hydra working out so well together. Hydra a little bit long there at the stairs. So Nasty is able to bring it now to a 2 versus 3. But a good start for the Subliners as Clay still looking over, trying to make sure that nobody has pinched their way through. So with that information that's now starting to be gained more and more, Subliners can begin to formulate what could be happening in just a moment. Zero making his way up through the desert. Nice shots as Neptune able to stay alive. He has been the man so far in this search destroy. He gets some information as Zero takes down Crim. Neptune's going to be screaming out call-outs, and I know exactly where Nasty is. 30 seconds left, and Clay, he gets taken down. All up to Neptune now.
What is New York doing? Like, you have yourself in so many man advantages. All you have to do is just put yourself next to each other and play the trade. But Neptune is at least able to spot one player. The bomb is going to be planted. But Zero, he's perfectly set up to watch both angles of this. So now with 45 seconds left in the 2v1 situation, he's going to commit towards this gunfight onto Nasty. But it's all about playing your life here. Zero, he set up perfectly for the crossfire. And that is what you call a breakdown from NYSL. That was awful. Like, if New York, you had the man advantage, you are slowly just allowing them to pick you guys apart. That was a 4v2. Zero, once he finds that first kill onto Crim, Nasty finds that kill onto the player in the back. All you guys have to do is allow them to plant this bomb and play your trades. That is just awful search and destroy coming in from NYSL.
And that has got to hurt as well. Like I said, it's a 4v2. Now it's going to be 4-2 in this game. And you just got to imagine for the Subliners, a round like that can just check you out. I mean, we talked about it.
100%.
I mean, just being in a search destroy like this, you got to be somewhat frustrated already with the team's performance. We'll see if they can start to rebound. The best way to do it is by finding the first blood. That's going to be done. First check off the list is there. As Crim says, I'll do it myself. 2 to start. Hydra for the 3rd. And now it's all up to Nasty. A 1v4. 1v3. Surely not. Surely not, Jay. Surely not.
All right, 40 seconds left.
Oh, gosh. Careful, Nasty.
Nasty, you're on a 4-3, so all depends on how aggressive he decides to be on this round, because you might potentially play for some kill streaks, force a couple of NYSL players to try to challenge you as they are just ready for this crossfire. You have Clayster, who's already set up by that beat bomb, just trying to give the call out to his team. So see that Nasty. 20 seconds left, not going to play for the defuse. He's trying to pick up a potential kill to work, show some streaks, but you see Clayster trying to work his way all the way around the back, trying to set up perfect timing, but Nasty puts himself in a great position to not die. Should be a clean round coming in from NYSL off of the back of Crim6 getting an early 2.
It's going to be so frustrating as well if you're Clay. Oh! For a moment. It could have been. It could have been. But Byron Plumridge, a.k.a. Nasty's able to stay alive. He'll keep that streak intact, but it's got to be frustrating if you're Clay. There's just so many areas to hide if you're on Desert Siege. I mean, if you've, I don't know, played, as I've played ranked more and more, I'll find myself being like, wait, there's extra parts of this map that I'm not aware of. There's an entire bunker in the back of the base for the Ravens. How does this even happen? Who made this? But Ravens, they dropped the round, and now New York within one of giving us a tie game in this S&D. It was all Krim in the prior round. We'll see if he can do it again. Bomb down already at B as the sniper shot will rain out. Echo throughout the desert as Clay. Now a Mirage right now for the Subliners. Gonna have to do it by themselves as Neptune jumping in, able to find one, but it's the instant trade from Afro. A 3 versus 1. Krim's position is made known. A nice job for the first, but with 23 seconds left, a job and a half to do if you are Ian Porter. Even the GOAT in a situation like this is gonna struggle. Takes down 0 and will just have to hop on the defuse. Knows the challenge has got to be coming. Takes down all 3, and with just a second and a half, it will not be enough for the Subliners to get the round. A frustrating one. If you're Krim, you've done all the work that you had to do, but even that was not enough. Ravens on map point.
And that just starts off with the Ravens with the aggression. They were saying, hey, on this offensive so far, we've only won one offense. Let's try to get this bomb down immediately towards B. Have 0 with our sniper open up with that first blood. Once he takes down Clayster, you allow your SMGs to eventually get back off of that bomb site. Afro puts himself in a great spot to pick up 2 on the round, forces into the 1v3. And then Krim, even though he's able to pick up all 3, still not enough time to get that defuse. So Ravens find themselves at game point. You see New York switching up their offensive side now, pulling on all this pressure towards bottom palace.
Call it again. Paul X. Okay, gotta be careful. This palace is heavily covered by everybody in the map. The central point of Desert Siege. A high point of contention. All 8 players still alive as Paul X did have to vacate. New York taking their time, looking for this information, looking for the first blood. And Krim 6 takes down Nasty. The angle is excellent as Krim will sit on 4 in a row. If NYSL can walk away with these rounds, how great would streaks be in the future? Now make it 5 in a row for Krim, doing everything he can as Afro evens things up at 2-2. The bomb goes down over at A, and we're not talking about it being planted. Meanwhile, 0 on the flank for 1 does not spot the angle on the other. Krim has got information and 0 does not know. The Krim was just right in his perspective. Krim's fires out a few shots. Position known over at B. Sitting on the 5 spree, 10 seconds left. He's got to grab that bomb and plant it as fast as possible.
Immediately.
He'll be good for it. He'll be able to get it down, but it's just a matter of time before the Ravens are able to sniff this one out. Can Krim get through? Can Krim get through? He will not. Krim not able to escape as Afro will close out the final kill. Punch in the digits. And the Ravens, just like that, now up 2-0 in the series.
And that's just good work from the Ravens. It doesn't matter when New York 3v4, 4v3, they're always going to find themselves, or at least throw themselves a couple of these rounds, man. Like right there, Krim, he finds that first blood. Once he finds that first blood, Afro finds another kill. Krim finds a second, Afro finds a second. Immediately turns it to a 2v2, and then 0, he repositions himself beautifully, makes it into a 2v1 when he finds Clayster towards the back. And then even in those final moments, only 15 seconds left before Krim 6 is able to get closer to that bomb. Afro puts himself in a great position to get him off of that site and eventually get the defuse. But that has to be a very frustrating SD. At least from when I was casting it just with you right now. So for them playing it, it's got to be frustrating.
There could be something. There could be something.
Has to be something for New York.
I'm doing my best here, Jay. Doing my best.
Yes, you are, man. Hopefully New York can show us something here, because New York, they do not see a lot of success on this map, simply to the fact that they cannot keep up in this lane department, as Afro was able to start off with 3 kills early into the round. You have one player, number 7, in Hydra, who was trying to hold down top ring. London already on his A point. Time to put some pressure on. 0 is able to almost find the second kill onto Clayster. But the first second progression is already in at this A point. Hydra, unfortunately, is going to kill himself with a barrel.
That's rather unfortunate. The French Phenom gets sent flying, and with that, it'd only allow for the Ravens to get even more time at the objective. A nice double comes through from Nasty, gonna make 0's life that much easier. And as the objective is being captured at A, Afro says, you know what? It's quite quiet over here at the beach, and he'll catch the fancy of all 3 of the Subliner players, and they will get the job done. But with that, the Subliners, or excuse me, the Ravens rather, will capture the point at A. Another minute added on toward the clock. As we'll see what New York can do. A lot of time for the London end. Down in lives, but Neptune able to find a nice double inside the middle. And now pushed up toward the spawn side. That would be a nice kill if he could find it onto 0.
Kill.
Able to grab it. Now sits on 4 in a row as Travis McLeod.
So now New York have some map control. Finally have decided to spawn in this series so far. As Qualifiers does find 2 towards the middle of the map, so this is going to allow a couple of teammates to start getting pushed up towards ring. One player is going to be able to sneak through onto that point, but he eventually does get dropped. But a lot of trades going back and forth. London are able to take control of top ring. So now if you're New York, it's about holding the line for the time being. Hydra able to pick up a kill on that late flank, trying to set up for a couple spawn kills towards that top cliff. But so far, New York, they're just stalling on a lot of this time. Only going to be a minute 15 left to work with.
Oh, Krim. Just climbing up the mountain, no problem. Great job. Trying to get some time, get some presence over at P1 as both Nasty and Paul X will drop. So a minute left. The live situation totally different. It was the Ravens up quite nicely. A 0 though, able to even the score. He'll take down 2 of his own. Also has some words for Neptune. How about Trey Boy Cardi putting everybody in the Louis V bag? Time will stop at 49 seconds, and 0 is also taking down his teammates as well. Everybody's dropping. 0 finally gets taken down, and with that, the clock will roll. A nice little moment there for 0, but overall on the objective, a tick yet to be captured, and so far, at least in Major 2 right now, Jay, it's still based off kills, not off of ticks. We'll see what New York can do with it. 28 seconds.
So far, they're holding the line. As my good friend Miles would like to say. Nasty does find 1 kill though onto Crim6 around the flank, so there's 20 seconds left. It's do or die situation right now for the Ravens. They have to win a majority of these gunfights, but Hydra's able to find 2. He's also going to spot Afro towards the lower B side. Puts down some early shots, at least able to back him down for the time being. And just the way that New York are set up right now, this round should go in their favor. But Afro, he's actually able to find 2 kills, and they're eventually able to get on this point.
Oh no, there's only 3 of them left. There's only 3 of them left. Nasty in a primary position. Objective man is still alive. Neptune over at the fences. Nasty will join alongside of him. Nearly getting picked off. They will capture the first hit. 2 players still alive. It's a 5 versus 2.
Oh,
Crim6, the last man up. Surely it's not going to happen like this. Surely it will not happen like this. All up to Krim. The objective continues to roll, but Krim, he can't do anything. He cannot do anything. London somehow. It looked like they were chalking the round. It looked like they'd given it up.
Yeah, it's out the window for New York. Like, there's just basically no way of coming back into this series, man. That is such a frustrating round because it came to the final 10 seconds. Even though Neptune, who was the only player that was watching that cross, to allow Afro to get a nade kill, followed up by another kill, it finds 3 in that final push for the Ravens to successfully close out that offensive round. And if you're New York, that's definitely frustrating because we know on a map like Kavutu, defenses you need to be able to secure. So now they have to come out and have to try to win an offensive round. Crim6 and Hydra already starting off early, though, with 2 early kills. Finally onto the same point.
You just got to imagine, right? What is this frustration going to turn into? Is it just going to turn into an angry Subliners that'll only get them going? Or will it be the demise of this team already? Nice work from Hydra, able to cut somebody down inside of green. So look to try to stop the clock as often as he can. Somebody was in the back over at the cliffs. I think it was Afro. He gets dealt with. So with that, Subliners able to establish some control, and that's where Afro can start to go off. He gets dealt with. And so with that, he drops, and the Ravens still yet to really see that objective. Now make it 2 ticks, and now it's Neptune's turn with the SMG to try and go rogue. He gets dropped as well, and the Ravens will prepare for B. And 0 making his way up inside of the beach. A big push already for New York. Dropping here could put them in somewhat of a spawn trap. We'll see what they can do with it. A lot of time up in lives and a necessary round.
So right now, New York up by 3 lives. They're just trying to play for some map control. Either it's going to be ring or it's going to be top red tower. But a lot of this pressure starting to come in towards the back. Neptune's able to take down 1, but Nasty is able to shut down that player and eventually shut down the pressure as they do find 3 kills, make it all 4 dead. So now New York Organy's running out towards cliffside. See the aggression starting to come in from the Ravens. They want to try to put them in this trap. Nasty's able to find one, get out with his life as well. Great place from him to eventually allow his teammates to get into play. Paulex takes down the second, and what went from New York having full map control is not going to be London just trying to push up towards them. The map pick up every single kill as Afro's on a 5 spree. Potentially it's just Chase to work with, but Place is actually going to be able to take him down. So they were able to stall out at least 1 minute so far into this game. Down by 1 life is going to be New York with 59 left.
This is where things can start to get difficult. As we said, just a number of different positions where the Ravens can establish themselves in, as that'll be a 3-for-1 trade. But Afro on the other end takes not just 1 down, but 2. Can he find the 3rd? He's got some support from the top, and it's all Afro all day. 18 and 9, having a star type of performance in this game without Gizmo having to go off, despite not having the full roster, and it doesn't matter. Afro takes down Crim, and Neptune is just trying to find the guy. Glaze eventually able to do that, but the time that he's able to waste will now make it for the Subliners to have only 1 good push at this.
And they're on it. Neptune is able to sneak his way on towards the point. Crimson is going to be the player to watch over him. So if you're the Ravens, it's all about setting up these team nades. Zero is going to continuously try to hold down this cross. But the contest is going to come in. He's going to be able to win that gunfight onto the player, onto the point. Now with 15 seconds left, if you're New York, you want to try to win this round, but you do not want to go down tremendously in the kill department. Hyde trying to do everything he can, takes down 1, but unfortunately does get traded. And this round should definitely go in favor of the Ravens as they hold the line on the defensive side.
Yeah, it's gonna be the Ravens W. It's gonna be a Ravens W in this round number 2. Now up 2-0 in this control, up 2-0 in this series. And you can just see the faces of New York, frustration, maybe even some concern on what could come next. As we said, a huge opportunity for them versus a Ravens team that's not going to be at full strength. Based off the score lines, based off the stats, you would never really know the difference. Paul's having a great time. He's like, these comments are great. We're having a great time just hanging out. I'm 10 and 13. We're still walking away with dubs. Afro's 22 and 10, for God's sake. But my goodness, New York down, but still not out. A 3-for-1 trade to start. And let's step aside and see in this moment what they have got left in the tank. Let's go to a listen with New York.
One deep right. After. 1 shot that side. Back tower. Back white. Back white. Paulex deep right. I'm missing Afro. Missing Afro.
No, zero back white. Zero back there. I'm 1 shot.
Yeah, I'm playing close. Play.
Watching your mid.
You laid me on B. You play. Watch for me. He's P1.
Yeah, Zero, white, and 1 with beach. They're going B.
He's dark stairs. Dark stairs.
Dark stairs.
Dark stairs. Dark stairs.
In the spawn. Why do you... Yo, 1 shot in the spawn. Go in the right side.
Top ring dead.
I'm missing Afro. It was P1. That one. Dead. Nice.
Still back fire, yeah.
Could be top ring.
I'm on
Top ring dead.
Nice. We're missing Zero.
They're probably gonna play B.
He's gonna play low B.
Dark stairs. 1 shot. Dark stairs. 1 shot. Nasty. Dark stairs.
Go from Paco. I'm going
1
for
bullet.
spawners.
That was
That missing Zero. Zero is gonna be like
I
behind.
have low right beach.
Close left. 1 shot. Play. 1 shot close left.
Well, nice little check-in there with the Subliners. Everything, at least for the moment, looks to be theirs in terms of the round. 5 seconds left, and we'll see what can happen. Final few seconds. Anybody from London able to get on the objective? No, not going to happen. The Subliners will escape. Jay, what'd you make of the comms overall?
Well, the comms, you know, they sound like a little dead to me. You know, it's definitely frustrating on the side of NOSL. You're down 0-2 in this series, 0-2 on the map. You just have to put something on the board, and they're able to actually win the defensive round. Good setup by them to put a lot of pressure towards that top cliff, and also just keep winning those gunfights in towards top ring. Never gave London any map control in that defensive round. So New York, they're able to stay alive for the time being. So now they're going back into the attack. So far, New York just trying to find some life. Place, they're able to hit that early first blood onto Paulex with a great angle. So they should be able to open up on this 8-point with some early progression here as Neptune does find a second.
Yeah, and all these kills for Neptune could be big. Right now sits at 12 and 20. It's got to improve all those up-close fights with the SMG. Crim looking to pressure things out, and with that as well, New York winning some of their fights. A nice shot to the top shelf we go. And Crim able to take down the other vet in Zero. Great work already from New York to start off this attack. 1 tick through, now make it 2 ticks. Krim is on the flank. It's now going to be 4 in a row for Porterhouse. We'll see if he can make it 5. If streaks could be in their future, how great would that be? Krim finds another influential kill, dies at 5 in a row. But it is a perfect start for New York, capturing that point today, and they've already got 2 players in position for that next objective as well, Jay.
And look at Hydra. He's also making plays on the flank because he's able to find 2 kills. So the last player here is going to be Afro. He has to try to go big as New York. They're able to finally get on this point. Afro does take that player that was working that late flank, but so much pressure coming in from the front side. Clayster able to find 2 on a 3 spree. The first tick of progression is going to be here. They have a 2 stack already, actually a 3 stack, so it's going super fast. With Zero able to hit a beautiful nade to take down 2 player. Last player here, it's going to be Clayster. So London, they're able to slow down the pressure, but good early aggression coming in from New York to get those 2 early ticks.
But it does make you wonder, right? Was that the opportunity? Was that the moment that we'll look back at where New York could have taken it up dramatically in lives? We'll keep that in mind. 23-13. Can the Subliners get another go at it? A great way to start is with Krim finding the opening engagement, but Hydra, the farthest pushed up player, he'll drop as well. The Vets winning the engagements from long range, and that will open up the objective. Now for Neptune. Neptune with 1, cannot find the second. Stunned, but still alive. And we'll be able to slide on in. Some great nades over the top. The Vets are locking this one down. And based off the lives alone and based off the kills, it looks like it could be New York that will walk away with this. Now down to just 4 lives. Now make it 3. Now make it 2. New York are going to hold on. They're going to send this to round 5.
And this is what you call a dominant round coming in from NYSL. Crossfires on crossfires was set up. They were able to dominate this round and take that kill lead when it goes to this round number 5. So they will have defense. And you see a little bit of life starting to come in towards NYSL. That was clean. Every single player was set up on the perfect position. Clayster towards that top gun area was able to hold down top of that red tower. Hydra just basically roaming around towards those middle tanks, and Neptune and Krim just working towards top range and able to close out that round. That was the most dominant thing that we've seen out of NYSL so far throughout the day. Clayster sitting at 24-14 on a 5 spree, potential working towards some streaks.
Well, where's that been? Where's that been stored at? We'll see if they can harness the energy again. My goodness, New York. As you said, buddy, we're in round 5, and based off the dominant slaying performance that we see there, as Krim unfortunately takes down Hydra, they've now got the defense and are put in the driver's seat here in this round 5. I don't know the exact percentages, but a high majority of it will be the defense walking away with every single Gavutu control round. That will be the stack, or at least the presence over at the boat already for London. An equally great start on the offense here for them, but right there, Neptune and Clay able to take down 2 from the setup. Zero, quite literally the captain, sitting atop the ship, watching his teammates fall by the wayside. Afro still firing for the moment as he gets dropped. And great teamwork as Zero sitting now toward the top gun will look to usher his teammates into this objective. 2 ticks in, but Neptune still lingers inside the middle.
And I'm pretty sure that Clayster, he was actually able to pick up 2 kills, so he does have that glide bomb to work with, just in case it gets a little freaky towards that B point. The kills going back and forth at this A point. Crimson's trying to do everything he can to keep these London players in their spawn. As New York, they have full map control. Hydra and Clayster are able to pick up 2 kills towards the middle of the map. Last player in the close position is going to be Paul X. He does take down Hydra. So with 25 seconds left, if you're in New York, all you have to do is try to hold the line. But the Ravens, they're able to pick up 2 kills, eventually get back on this point, stop that clock. 19-19 right now in lives.
And Clay going off inside of the middle. 15 seconds left. Paul X, though, sits on a 5 spree. Something to consider, something to keep in mind. New York do not want to allow for another minute to be added onto the clock. We've seen the Ravens do damage at that B objective as well. Time going to be stopped at 10 and some change as Afro looks to clear the way for his teammates, but this could be the break for New York. They can't get here in time. The objective will be captured for London. Another minute added. Paul X does die off the streak, and we shouldn't have any of those to work with for the time. 55 seconds left. Ravens with a slight advantage in terms of lives. Will it be the final hold for the Subliners to get us to a game 4 as they continue to find kills everywhere on Gavutu.
So far, New York doing a great job of just holding down top ring, holding down the flank towards that top red tower. But Paul X, he's able to sneak by Hydra. And this can cause problems on the side of NYSL. Even though they're still holding down top ring, Nasty finds that huge kill, and this eventually allows Paul X to set up in that pinch. He is going to get traded, so there's only 25 seconds left on this clock. This is going to be the last push coming in from the Ravens.
We'll see if they can make it work. It's Zero over the top.
Look at Afro.
Tosses out the nade, says a prayer, but as you said, buddy, it's Afro. Afro's on the flank. He could break this entire thing open. He could take this series afloat as Neptune able to find him on the trade. 8 seconds left in Zero. He's got to get on the objective. He's got to do something. He falls as well. And it looks as if New York will find some life down 0-2 in the control. But they fire 3 rounds in a row. And okay, Clay's saying, all right, we're in this. We're still afloat. I don't know how they did it, Jay. I don't know where that one defensive round came from, where they just absolutely dominated. But that round sets them over the edge. And now we've got ourselves a game 4 guaranteed, buddy. My goodness, what was that?
Finally, New York showed me some life, man. Like, that was the most dominant offensive round that we've seen so far on Gavutu. 21-2 in those final moments. Like I said, it was just beautiful crossfire setup from Clayster. Sitting on the top gun position, he was holding down everyone who was trying to overextend from top red tower. And in Hydra, he was basically playing that mid cut towards that middle tank area. Anyone that tried to overextend or at least hit the long rotation on the way back, he was picking up those kills. NYSL, they were able to finally dominate in the slaying department. You see, the only player positive on the side of the race, 28 and 24 in that map number 3. But this is a map where Neptune can really take over this game with the amount of pressure, the SMG work that he has in his hand. I'm looking at him and Hydra to really be the dynamic duo to try to force this game 5.
Yeah, can we finally see it, right? We were so excited about the ability for Neptune and Hydra to be alongside of each other. It's maybe taking a whole stage, but now could it be their moment? Could it be the opportunity for these two SMG superstar talents to finally get it going? That's not going to be their opportunity, as it will be the Ravens winning a majority of those fights. It's a 4-for-1 trade, as London looking to claim all of the available seconds. Ooh. Now over at P1, Zero getting mixy as Nasty falls toward the top side of Broken. London will walk away with the final 10 over at P1. Now it's time for the rotation, and Afro, he's got 1, he's got 2 in his sights. Great work there from Marcus Reed. Finally dropped, but the slaying is going to be done. Ravens now with official spawns. That's going to be at their back. We'll see what they can do now with the time sitting right in front of them.
And based off the way that P1 hardpoint went, London did not spawn on this side. They were able to flip those spawns immediately as soon as that P1 started. So that's why you see London in the commanding lead that they have so far. A good chunk of time off that P1. You keep these spawns for P2. Already Paul X was on a 5-3 before he does get taken down, but a lot of this pressure from NYSL starting to come in from Middle Church, but this has been a flawless hold from the Ravens. Now with 25 seconds left, you probably give this 1 or 2 more good pushes if you're NYSL, but that P3 is the way you're going to get back into this game. You cannot allow the break to come in off the rotation. Nasty's going to be the first player here. He does get taken care of, so this should allow NYSL to try to fight back into this game as long as they don't get early broken.
Yeah, but man, that was okay.
Oh my!
Right there. All right, Paul X. We'll try it next time. We'll give that one another go. But those last few breaks, that one push and potentially for the Subliners, not good at all. You can just tell. Somewhat caught off guard. Push has not been great so far up to this point. But now over toward the fountain we go. Nasty, the first one in, he drops. So that layer gonna be stopped. The Ravens now will halt and wait for a few of their teammates off spawn. Some great seconds now here for New York, because they'll have a moment to breathe. But Zero now sitting on 5 in a row. It's the nade, it's the shots. Paul X helping lead their way into the hard point. As we said, a roster that is known for their breaks very well may have just done it again. Afro does get dropped from the fountain. New York will reclaim the time. Last player that's going to be here is Paul. He wins 1. It's a 1v1 versus Neptune for what could be 20 seconds. The nade will decide it, and Crimsix will grab the scrap seconds, but it is a race now over toward Church.
I see a couple players from NYSL trying to attack the back. Zero trying to do everything he can to stay alive. but he eventually does get taken down by Clay. So now the next line of defense is going to be Paul. He finds one, eventually does get traded. So the spawns do flip. NYSL, and in the perfect time, are able to flip these spawns for this P4 hard point. Now should be able to get right back into this game with a great hold, but just pay attention to your mini map. Look at Zero. They're setting up for this pinch. We're able to work his way all the way to back tank. So as long as his teammates are able to pick up a couple kills, they will spawn all the way across the map. Trades going back and forth allows eventually for Zero to get back into this play. Those spawns do flip, but New York are still holding.
Yeah, Ravens with the spawn flip. We'll see what they can do with it. Nice shots coming through from Clay. Ripping through the box is Afro. Finding a nice kill there over at the field side onto Hydra. Looking to clear the lanes. Clear a few of the spots to try and get a look over at Church. It'll be Afro from one side and Paul X from the other. Gets his chance and is able to seize it. A nice little 1v1. Tosses out the stun toward bottom Church and really looks to get to work. Okay. Worked a little extra hard for that one, but a nice little start for Paul X. 14-9 as Afro will drop off the rotation. Expect some chaos. Expect a few nades from time to time. We'll see who can walk away with the majority of these seconds, because it's not normally going to come in stride. It's going to take a number of different 1v1s. Every team wipe just feels like it's a guaranteed 3 seconds. If you can even get to that point, a 3-for-1 start for the Subliners is the best way to get it. Off the rip, though. As Zero jumps on in, he falls. Subliners, a great start at P5.
And Hydra so far, he's been going massive on this hard point to not allow the Ravens players to try to get in from either spawn. New York are right back into this game, only going to be down by about almost 30 seconds. But the contest is going back and forth. Krim able to win a huge one-on-one. Nasty, he is able to find 2, make it 3 in this final seconds of this P5 hard point. So now you start thinking about that rotation. Number 6 and Neptune is going to have to try to go big. He is going to die off that rotation. So now Zero, he's going to be the first player here, and just look at number 2 and Nasty already setting up for this pinch. So only a matter of time before he is able to develop this play and allow his teammates to make this break.
New York, a great job so far, but with little plays like that from Nasty, we'll see how things look to change. Afro as well, hot on the heels of Crim 6. How great of a series it has been so far for Afro. 16-11 has been dropping bomb after bomb so far on the Subliners, as that's now going to be 3 straight in the feed for London. Neptune's able to answer with 2 of his own, but who other than Afro? Who other than Afro? Now 5 nearly makes it 6. For God's sake, he's basically doing it all himself. Some great work coming in from the sophomore. Paul X, his duo from last year, continues to soar in from the skies here on Tuscan. A great reply from the Ravens after what was an excellent start. New York fire back with some points themselves. The Ravens, right on cue, continue to put themselves in the more favorable positions. The second set of rotations and the second hill now over at column. Can Neptune make the play on the flank?
Yeah, Neptune needs to try to make a kill, but unfortunately he is going to get read by Zero. So that shuts down the pressure from NYSL towards the back. Afro, great place to take down the last 2 players, as it's going to be a clean 4 dead. 1 player in NYSL does spawn in towards bottom Church. Neptune trying to do everything he can to stay alive, but Paul X still putting on a lot of pressure. NYSL trying to attack through top plat. 30 seconds remaining. Paul X just snapping left and right, able to trade these kills back and forth. And with 25 seconds left, if you're New York, this is a good contest to come in. If you can try to chain this with that P3 hardpoint, this is the way you get back into this game, basically forcing all of Raven to continuously spawn in the back. You do not want these spawns to flip, but that's going to be the Ravens able to find 3 kills. The remaining jump time should go in their favor. And now if you're NYSL, you need to have a response on this P3 hardpoint to get back into this game.
And that was also another big kill for Hydra. He was able to pick out Paul X. That was the one player who made his way in from field. So great clearance from the Subliners inside of the middle of the map. Hydra looking to firmly establish himself in this lane as well. Now sits on 2. Could make it 3. Great teamwork.
Nice.
Great teamwork from the Subliners' end. Krim, a slow start to this game, but now on 5 in a row. And he's getting all kinds of mixing. He was jumping in. He wanted to get involved in the fight. Krim wanted to be involved in all of these engagements. Back and forth we go. But now it's Neptune's turn. Subliners about to be within 20 points of what was an 80-0 start for the most part. 3 go down again. And the Subliners are going to hold down every single second over at Fountain.
Now they're right back into this game. You just have to try to get this rotation, or at least get towards the backside and start off with that initial gunfight. Whoever starts off with this initial gunfight win is going to be able to win this rotation battle. As now New York are only down by 8 points. Crim6 does find that first kill. A lot of the pressure starting to come in towards his left side of P1. Still spawns coming in favor of the Ravens towards the back, but Hydra able to break in through the front. Crim6 and Hydra able to find every single kill, get right into this church hard point, and now New York had the potential to take the lead.
This could be their chance. This could be the opportunity. But the Ravens hold on to the rotation. Paul X somehow manages to track Hydra through the air. Another 1v1. It's up to 0. It's up to 0 for the time, and he and Nasty will be able to walk away with the engagement. It looks so good for the Subliners, as they may just have to focus their attention now over at P5. Final 15. Still a church left to fight for. You want these if you're New York, but it will have to be the rotation, as we said, already off to the races. They did a great job at Command Center last time around. Can they do it again? 25 left for the Ravens to call this series. But can it be now? Can it be the moment where New York brings this one back?
And Paul X, he's going to start off with that initial gunfire on towards Crim, bottom fountain. Clayster's also going to drop, so now Neptune has to try to go big, as Hydra is still going to be holding down bottom middle. But a lot of the pressure starting to come in from London towards the top side. They're able to find 3 kills, and look at the plays coming in from 0 to set up on this pinch, spawn a couple of these players of NYSL all the way across the map, and now it's only a matter of moments before the Ravens are able to close out this series.
It looks like it, Jay. It looks like it. They've got to contest, and then some. If you are New York, they can find their chance. They can find the little moment. Can they find the crack in the setup as Crim6 is able to break on through? A 2v1, and New York will hold on for the moment. But take a look at the arrows on your mini-map. The Ravens are prepared. 4 seconds left. It's a race toward P1. It feels like it's been a race so far throughout the entirety of the game. In terms of rotations, could it be the moment for New York? Or is this the time for the Ravens again? Will it be London's game? And it will be. The London Royal Ravens able to hold on after what was everything. You felt it. The Subliners gave it everything that they had. But it was not enough again in the hard points. 0-12. Now in hard point for the Subliners, as they will drop yet again another series. And despite the substitute, despite some questions, a Ravens team not at full strength, they get the job done regardless.
And that's just good coming in from the Ravens, man. Picking up right where they left off, even if it wasn't with their full roster. To come in here and to make sure they reassure their dominance in hardpoint, because in their last 2 series at the major, they went up against Optic. They went up against Atlanta. They ended